Okay, since we are unable to do our meeting today, we're going to do a couple activities on Boom. So let's start with a food sort. You just came home from a trip to the grocery store. You have so many things to put away. Can you sort the items and put them in the right place in the house? All right, so we need to drag the item to where it goes, either the freezer, the cabinet, or the refrigerator. So there are some things that need to be kept really cold, like ice cream and some meats and other like items that need to stay frozen. So those those go in the freezer. And cabinet, those are usually our dry goods, stuff that don't need to be kept cold, like chips and canned foods, things like that. And then the refrigerator, those are things that we need to keep cold but not frozen. Okay. So let's start with chips. Where do we put chips? Do we put chips in the freezer? No, not the freezer. Do we put chips in the cabinet? Yes, we put chips in the cabinet because they don't need to be kept cold or really cold. All right, what about butter? Do we put butter in the freezer? Butter needs to be kept cold, but not really cold, not frozen. So no. We said butter needs to be kept cold, so does it go in the cabinet? No. So then, does butter go in the refrigerator? Yes, butter goes in the refrigerator. All right, what about hamburger meat? Does it go in the cabinet? No, it needs to be kept cold to some degree. Some people might say the refrigerator, and you would be right, especially if you're going to use it right away. But if you're not going to use it right away, do you think maybe it needs to go in the freezer? Yes, we should put it in the freezer. Okay, what about peanut butter? Should we put peanut butter in the freezer too? No, we don't need to keep peanut butter cold. So if it doesn't need to be kept cold, should it go in the cabinet? Yes, we put it in the cabinet. What about ice cream? So popsicles. Do popsicles go in the refrigerator? Well, the refrigerator's cold, but probably not cold enough for popsicles. So they would probably still melt. And if the refrigerator's not cold enough, then the cabinet probably won't be cold enough either. So should they go in the freezer? Yes, we put them in the freezer. What about tomatoes? Tomatoes should probably be kept cold, but probably not frozen. So, excuse me, if they shouldn't be frozen, should they go in the freezer? No. If they need to be kept cold, should they go in the cabinet? No. Should they go in the refrigerator? Yes. We put them in the refrigerator. Let's check our work. Awesome. All right. What about coffee? Dry coffee. Does it go in the freezer? No, it doesn't really need to be kept cold. So if it doesn't need to be kept cold, should it go in the cabinet? Yes. Okay, sour cream. Sour cream is dairy, but it's not necessarily dairy that should be frozen. Should we put it in the freezer? No, because it doesn't need to be frozen. That would make it too hard to use. It needs to be kept cold, so should it go in the cabinet? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. All right, what about frozen Eggo waffles? They need to stay frozen, so should they go in the cabinet? No. Should they go in the freezer? Yes. What about lettuce? Lettuce needs to be kept cold, but not frozen. So should it go in the freezer? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. What about bacon? So this is kind of like the hamburger meat. It needs to be kept cold, and some people might put it in the refrigerator. But let's think about it needs to be kept cold for a long time, and you're not going to use it right away. So it probably should be frozen then. So if it needs to be frozen and kept cold for a long time, should it go in the cabinet? No. Should it go in the freezer? Yes. Okay, dry spaghetti noodles. So these don't have anything in them that need them to stay cold. They're not cooked yet. So should they go in the freezer? No. Should they go in the cabinet? Yes. All right, awesome. Okay, milk. Milk should be kept cold, but not frozen because then you won't be able to drink it. So should it go in the freezer? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. Crackers. Crackers don't need to be kept cold. Actually, if we make them cold, they might not stay good for very long. So should they go in the freezer? No. Should they go in the cabinet? Yes. Canned vegetables. Canned vegetables. Should they go? They don't need to be kept cold. Just like crackers don't need to be kept cold either. So should they go in the freezer? No. But should they go with the crackers in the cabinet? Yes. And a frozen pizza. Frozen pizza needs to stay frozen for it to stay good. So do we put it in the cabinet? No. Do we put it in the freezer? Yes. Yogurt. Yogurt's kind of like milk. It needs to stay cold, but it doesn't need to stay frozen. So should it go in the cabinet? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. Frozen French fries. These need to stay really cold. They need to stay frozen because they're not cooked yet. So should we put them in the cabinet? No. Should we put them in the freezer? Yes. All right. Bread. Bread, some people like to keep their bread cold, but it doesn't really have to be cold. So should it go in the freezer? No. Should it go in the cabinet? Yes. Grapes. Grapes should be kept cold, but they don't have to be frozen. So should they go in the freezer? No. Should they go in the refrigerator? Yes. Frozen broccoli. It needs to be kept really cold. It should be frozen. So should it go in the refrigerator? No. Should it go in the freezer? Yes. Deli meat. Deli meat. Should it go? It needs to be kept cold but not frozen. So should it go in the cabinet where things aren't really kept cold? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. A lean cuisine frozen meal. This needs to be kept frozen until you cook it up. So should it go in the cabinet? No. Should it go in the freezer? Yes. Cheerios. Cheerios don't need to be kept cold. The milk that you use them with or eat them with should be kept cold, but Cheerios don't need to be kept cold. So do they go in the freezer? No. Do they go in the cabinet? Yes. All right. Tuna. Tuna's in a can, and it doesn't need to be kept cold. So should it go in the freezer? No. Should it go in the cabinet? Yes. Celery needs to be kept cold, but not frozen. Should it go in the cabinet? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. Fish sticks. Fish sticks need to be kept frozen, not just cold. So should they go in the cabinet? No. Should they go in the freezer? Yes. Ice cream. Ice cream needs to be kept frozen, really, really cold. So should it go in the cabinet? No, because if we put it in the cabinet, it'll melt. So should it go in the freezer? Yes. A can of soup. A can of soup doesn't need to be kept cold. So should it go in the refrigerator? No. Should it go in the cabinet? Yes. And then cheese. Cheese needs to be kept cold, but not frozen. So should it go in the freezer? No. Should it go in the refrigerator? Yes. Oh, where does it go? That's our activity. Awesome. Maybe we can do one more. We'll do does it go in the refrigerator? Okay. A flower. Does it go in the refrigerator? Do we put flowers in the refrigerator? No, we don't put flowers in the refrigerator. Not at home, at least. You might see them in a refrigerator at a florist or a store, but not at home. Cheese. Does cheese go in the refrigerator? Yes. This goes back to the last activity we just did. Does a shirt go in the refrigerator? No. What color is this shirt? That's right, it's pink. And it does not go in the refrigerator. Yogurt. Does yogurt go in the refrigerator? Is it something that needs to be kept cold? Yes. So we put it in the refrigerator. All right. So ketchup, it should be kept cold. Does it go in the refrigerator? Yes. Money. Do we keep that in the refrigerator? No. Even if we joke and say cold hard cash, doesn't go in the refrigerator. Books. Do we put books in the refrigerator? No. They go on a shelf, on a table. All right. Butter or margarine. Does it need to be kept cold so it goes in the refrigerator? Yes. Awesome job. All right. Thank you for playing Boom with me today. I hope you have a good day today, friends. A beautiful Friday, a great weekend, and I will see you in my videos and on our meeting on Monday. Bye, friends.